POV, you just talk back to your mom. What's up, Goblin Nation? I know, it's been a while since I've talked about Rell, but honestly, it's kind of hard to stay hyped for so long. You want hype? This is hype. And I'm kind of just thinking drop the game already. At this point, they're just showcasing fruit and weapons, so it's harder to comment on it, aside from just going, wow, that looks great. Me when Rell shows off the flame fruit for the 15th time. Wow, that looks great. They dropped development vlog 1 and 2, so I thought I'd talk about them, maybe cover what's in them, since not everyone has an hour to waste going through them to see what's valuable. I also wanted to go over whether or not they're actually hurting their own game by taking so long on it. I don't know, most games kind of don't really say anything until it's like close to release, but they've been giving us sneaks and showing gameplay, which is normally a good thing, but at this point it's really hard to stay excited for so long, which, you know, I mentioned before, but I know I'm not the only one feeling this. It's just like, come on, drop the game already. I feel like they're just over promising, or, you know, they said they don't want it to be like Cyberpunk, but it's like, come on, bro, you guys are Roblox developers. You can just update the game easily. And even now, people criticize Gravity's animations, but they seem to fix it like within a week. Rell when it comes to finishing their games. Rell when someone says their animation is bad. That's obviously a joke, relax. I know they get kind of mad when they see people say shit like that, but obviously I'm kidding. Anyways, I've talked long enough, so let's get into the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and as always, enjoy.
In this video, we're not going to be talking as much.
Okay, here they spent some time going into detail about how you can break blocks and how they don't really like the combos that end with a block breaker, so you actually have to go around the guard. It's all kind of in detail. Not everyone's really into the nitty gritty like that, especially, you know, people that are more focused on PvE, so this might not be interesting for you. So they reworked ship combat a little with the way the camera is. You know, it's a lot closer now. I think it works really well when you're aiming cannons. It's a lot easier, I think, than the previous third-person one that was kind of zoomed out. They have a cannon in the front that can slow down the ships you shoot with it, so you can board them more easily, which is pretty cool. I know they said they're inspired by Black Flag, which has a lot of like boarding mechanics, so this will be fun to see. Also, they improved movement and combat on ships, so it's a lot less choppy than it was in the last time they showed it. Then they spent some time showing off the axe hand weapon, which is pretty cool, but you know, you've seen it once, you've seen it twice. Then they showed off these dual blades, which have some of the nicest animations I think we've seen yet. Some of the attacks are really cool, and it's even got a cool throwing move. Gravity is pretty much what you'd expect. It's got a push, a pull, a meteor, you know, that kind of thing. These are the gravity effects I mentioned that people complained about, but by the second video they're fixed, so it's really not that big of an issue. Next, they showed off the Allosaurus fruit, which looks way more interesting and, you know, unique compared to Gravity, which is in every single One Piece game. I mean, just look at this transformation. It is gorgeous. Honestly, I feel like the Zoans all have way more thought put into them than a lot of the Logias, but I don't know, those are probably better at comboing or something, I don't know. The Allosaurus so far looks 10 times better than Gravity, even after the rework, I think. There are some other little details, but mostly they spend the rest of the video just showing off moves and fighting. If you want, you can go check them out, but I'm not really going to take the time to summarize it here.
The combat's been changed back to a block break knockback.
This part made me laugh actually, because in the last video he spent like a minute talking about how he hates that combat because it takes no skill. And then in this one, like a week later, it's like, we reverted it, so I almost wonder if they were like arguing internally, or maybe there was just a lot of feedback. Now, this was very controversial. Like, I'd say maybe 70% of the comments said they don't want fruit abilities on the actual weapons. Like, the hooks shouldn't have sand attacks unless you have the sand fruit, which I agree with, honestly. Like, it's just weird to be using flame and theming your character around flame and then having like a move with, you know, Whitebeard's fruit. They already kind of posted on Twitter that they don't plan on changing it, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm sure I'll get used to it eventually. I think there's just something really weird about it that I can't really put my finger on. Some people have been suggesting that, like, if you have a flame fruit, maybe you'll add a flame effect instead of the, you know, the tremor or quake effect on the Bacento. But I feel like that'd just be way too hard for them to code for every fruit. I mean, maybe you could get like a couple, but I don't know. I think I'd prefer that they pick like a middle ground where they don't have the visual effect unless you have the devil fruit, and then they can add it. But so I don't think that's possible with some of them, like the sand one. It would just kind of look weird if your dude's just rolling around on the ground without the effect. Also, I love this little exchange he posted where it's like him talking to one of the modelers about how the weapons won't be iconic and will be bland without the, you know, the fruit themed moves. And it's like, my brother in Christ, you made all the weapons and most of them don't have fruits tied to them. So clearly you were able to come up with a lot of cool moves. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to preference, and if they prefer the fruit moves, then I'd rather they just keep it. You know what I mean? Like, if they're just gonna compromise every time we have like a demand, the game will probably turn out shittier at the end. Also, I did kind of want to talk about how the hype may be affecting the game negatively. I mean, like I said, I'm not the only one that's kind of burnt out on hype, but honestly, it's kind of a double-edged sword because when they show a fruit like Gravity, for example, in their first vlog, they got a lot of feedback and they actually made it look a lot better. And I think if the game released, they would just be overwhelmed with people saying every fruit needs to be improved, or, this weapon looks ugly, that kind of thing. So I don't know, it's kind of a weird balance. I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of waiting for some big news or something. I don't like to be too critical of the Rell Bros because honestly the game they're making is like more impressive than anything I've seen on Roblox, and they honestly deserve all our support. But I don't know if I can go another 3 months being excited for the game and then like every 2 weeks getting a video just showcasing one more devil fruit, you know what I mean? This ox fruit looks sick as hell. And honestly, white looks like it's gonna be an absolute nightmare to deal with. In a good way, like it'll be really fun to use looking at all the moves, but could you imagine just getting bombarded by like 100 beams of light while you're just harvesting wood? How do you guys feel about Quake being like green? I'm not too sure about it. I know some people have been asking for a change, and I mean, I feel like I'd get used to it after a while, but it looks cool still, I guess. Honestly, I've been saying this for a long time. They really need like color variants of abilities. Like, could you imagine a blue flame, or like a blue and green version of the Quake fruit? It would just be so cool, and maybe you could give them as rewards for mastery or something. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And that's all I got for the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Honestly, this one was a little weird to go through since it was just more fruit stuff. Aside from just analyzing their clothes, there wasn't really much I could dive into. But it was still kind of fun, and it's always nice to look through and, give commentary on what I think. If you've been on my channel lately, you've probably noticed I've been making videos on Ark Survival Ascended, kind of going back to my roots and actually doing like, funny gameplay, instead of like news like I started doing with the Rell Seas. It's been kind of fun, and we have like a whole server. If you guys want to join, you can check the Discord, or it'll be in the description of those videos. I'm definitely not just salty that I didn't get tested in Rell Seas. I don't know who keeps spreading that rumor. It's not true. This fit go hard or not?